My name is Shiv Seth. I'm a solar business leader responsible for Middle East, Turkey and Africa, based out of Dubai. And I work for Signify, which is formerly known as a Philips Lighting.
First of all, congratulations. You have received the Excellence Award for the advocacy in the solar energy from the Dubai Supreme Council. This is a really huge, I would say, milestone. Congratulations for that. Did you always know that you're going to have a career in the sustainability, I would say, domain and in solar? Tell us more about Signify. Why are you so successful? You're talking about Middle East, you're the world's leader in actually what you're doing, all the way from India to Africa, around the globe, all of it together. And there must be some secrets, right, around actually how do you lead a business that is actually that big?
That's another interesting question, Chada. I must say, I would discuss in the three key aspects. One, how close you are to customers. The second part is offer a differentiated product portfolio. But not the last one is your marketing strategy. So these are some key secrets of Signify and what we are following from the legacy.
Tell us a little bit more about the smart city and how actually really infrastructure as well can be developed, or I would say futurized, using all of those basically like energy and AI.
So first of all, what we do, there is a two kind of a project we can categorize. One we call is a green field, another is the gray field, which is the green field means there is nothing infrastructure exists. If you need to connect with two cities, you need one infrastructure without investing much on the electrical network. Eventually, everything is wireless, efficient, and maintenance free. You don't need to do anything.
And this is important, by the way, especially at the big scales, right? السلام الله عليكم ورحمته تعالى وبركاته. أعزائي المشاهدين، مرحبا بكم في حلقة جديدة من بودكاست آفاق الذكاء الاصطناعي مع شدا الإسلام. في هذه الحلقة معنا ضيف مميز لهذه الليلة، قائد في مجال الاستدامة والطاقة الشمسية. رحل وارتحل من قرى الهند إلى الطرق السريعة ها هنا في الخليج وفي إفريقيا. قاد تحولات رقمية في الطاقة الشمسية وحول منصات الطاقة الشمسية إلى منصات بيانات ذكية تحمي وتفعل وتضيء وتنير الطرقات والمدن الذكية. في هذه الحلقة سنشاهد وإياكم بعضاً من هذه التفاصيل وسنحلق في آفاق الذكاء الاصطناعي الخاص بهذه الصناعة. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in a new episode of AI Horizons with Chada. In this podcast, we usually discover a lot of the newest discoveries and inventions and patterns of AI and energy. Today, we have a very special guest with us. We have Seth, who is having more than 20 years of experience in the solar energy. He has led amazing revolutionary transformations for the energy sector, all the way from India to GCC in Africa and around the globe. He has a lot of basically awards that would really strengthen his positioning and his leadership in the renewable energy and solar energy in specific business. Today, we will deep dive with him about his career, his ambitions, his looks, and his opinions around the future of this industry, especially with AI. All right, Shiv, welcome to the podcast. Very glad to have you here today with us.
Thank you so much, Chada. And to the organizing team for the podcast, I truly appreciate the opportunity given to me to talk about one of the marketing trends on solar and artificial intelligence.
Amazing. I would start basically with the greatest, I would say, news that you've just had very recently. Congratulations, first of all. You have received the Excellence Award for the advocacy in the solar energy from the Dubai Supreme Council. This is a really huge, I would say, milestone. Congratulations for that.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is mine.
Amazing. Now, if we are to actually kind of like reverse engineer this, really, right? How did you get into that? Tell us a little bit more about your career. I mean, more than 20 years, 2 decades in the industry. How did you actually really achieve it? And what did you do? Tell us a little bit more about your career.
First of all, thank you so much. And I would like to introduce first myself. My name is Shiv Seth. I'm a solar business leader responsible for Middle East, Turkey and Africa, based out of Dubai. And I work for Signify, which is formerly known as a Philips Lighting. I did my BTech Bachelor of Technology in Electronics Engineering, and post-graduation in Marketing in one of the reputed institute of India. Of my 19 years of experience in vertical in many profiles such as business development, global product management, global marketing, and sales management in over the 70 countries with billion population. In this strategic profile, we have worked around all the key consultants, the end users, as well as contractor, as well as we worked with the certified system integrators and collaboratively were involved those value-added called element of the solar and AI to make a system and business more successful. I'm also utilizing my stakeholder management and interpersonal skills to collaborate with cross-functional teams sitting across the globe.
Of course.
I'm also mentoring and coaching our sales colleagues and specification team to achieve their personal and professional goals. In one line, if I say about the statement what we do in today, in the profile, I assist my client to achieve their sustainability target via economical, social, and environmental approach. And I believe these are the three elements are the key ingredient of the sustainability to the world. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing, Shiv. If I am to start a little bit, basically, did you always know that you're going to have a career in the sustainability, I would say, domain and solar? Or did that something actually just came in throughout kind of like, I would say, exploring your career path?
That's another interesting question, Chada, I must say, because we never know about this transformation has happened. If you take almost 10 years back, there are a lot of transformation is happening. The technology is evolving to the next level. And post-COVID, everybody realized that AI is the next future. And solar is helping a lot to make this transformation possible. So I answer to your question, yeah, it was all the destiny, which I could say, to make this journey moving forward.
Amazing. And I am very sure as well that you're really enjoying it. And actually, you're doing great work actually in there. So if you are to tell us a little bit actually about some of the latest and the breakthrough projects that actually you had in Signify within the area of solar, what would be a kind of like, the remarkable projects in that aspect?
So there are many such breakthrough projects, which we have executed. And each project has certain memory and experience and learning. I would like to share some couple of stories which I have done.
Absolutely. And maybe before you share the stories, just kind of like for the audience also who don't know how the solar business is maybe actually differentiated from the other renewable businesses, maybe tell us a little bit about that first and then deep dive into actually the stories.
I think that's a good catch, I believe. So I would go even a few years before how the solar lighting and the rural lighting could be predicted.
Yes.
So what we talk about when historically the solar is always be predicted as an unreliable and expensive energy source. And this is the fact. Because there is a lack of innovation, lack of technology, and the people adaptation. Hence, solar is always be preferred as a rural symbol. So if someone wants to light up via solar, they always look for some kind of a village lighting.
Yes, yes.
And that is another reason solar never contributed much in the urbanization and sustainable city. Mm-hmm. We understood this challenge and we did the deep analysis with our set of R&D engineers and the marketing people. We developed an ultra-efficient solar solution, which is not only meeting 1:1 comparison of the conventional luminaire, but also you can control it sitting in your office via a dashboard. This revolutionary technology is becoming one of the key things or key ingredient which is contributing in now urban lighting master plan.
And maybe to add into this, why actually it's helping and supporting the urban master plan is because actually it supports the scale, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now the ultra-efficient solution not only helping to meeting the technical requirement, but also it is meeting the capex and opex justification. Yes. So that if return of investment is so lucrative, then the client and the end user are now preferring solar as a primary offer rather than going to the conventional who emit the CO2.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with that also we're trying actually, or Signify is actually trying to kind of like really revolutionize and move also the misconception or kind of like, the stereotypical view that solar is actually only for rural and not for urban, correct?
Exactly. And that was the breakthrough when we did some multiple projects to showcase them. The solar is no more only for rural, it has equally contributed to the bigger and urban master plan, and which we have proved in all across the world.
Amazing. Tell us more about this. Yeah, which projects maybe actually that would illustrate that?
Yes, so I will take in a country-wise region because every country has their different need and requirement.
Of course.
I'll take it from the India part, which is where we started my career. India has 650,000 villages and ranked globally number one in rural lighting. Unfortunately, thousands of such villages do not have access to electricity. And that gives us another challenge, how we can make this rural more safer and convenient for walk after dark. Because that point of time, the crime rate was also increasing because the people are afraid to go after dark.
Absolutely, of course.
So what we did, we collaborate with government department and with our engineers, and we made a tailored solar street lighting system which can make a significant change in the lifestyle of the people of the rural. And we have installed more than 100,000 of off-grid villages to make this light lit and showcase one of the benchmark project in solar industry. The noticeable part of that, when there was a flood in the city, all the city lights were off, and the light which has been installed in villages, those solar lights are working. So that shows the solar is no more just an optional, it is an essential part, an integral part of our life.
Amazing, amazing. And I think this is exactly where where kind of like, people might not see what's coming up. And I think this is where my next question is going to ask is actually about the adoption, and how do you see really the adoption evolving, I would say, from that aspect, both on the end user as kind of like basically individual and more kind of like, I would say entities and nationwide as well from that. How do you see really the trends over there?
I think I can give you another breakthrough project from the Africa, which can answer your question.
Okay.
So and Africa is a continent, it's abundant sunlight.
And we have more than actually like 500 million people still without electricity.
Exactly.
In
and
Africa.
that gives us
500 to
a
600.
world largest solar opportunity for us.
True.
However, there's hundreds of millions of people do not have access to electricity.
Yes.
Even while discussing with one of our key customer at site, the person have to travel 10 kilometers just to charge the mobile phones.
Oh, no.
And we understand this part. I personally visited more than 25 countries, understand their need, how we can make those need and requirement change into the most competitive product portfolio. And then we again discuss with our team member, and at Signify, we develop a product called Pay-as-you-go solar home system.
Amazing.
Pay-go is the pay-as-you-go. It's a financing model which the end user can own the product by paying some upfront money, and balance can be given by installments. This was a win-win situation for both. For the product who are manufacturing the product for the company because they are already getting the money, and for the owner, they are making this installment. Now, this product is a full kit. This includes your multiple light point for indoor, your bathroom, kitchen, hall, and bedroom, 1 or 2 light for outdoor, as well as the television, radio, and torches, and the less mobile charging cables.
The entire ecosystem of the house, basically.
Ecosystem of the house. And not only this, we have given a 2 more plug, which can be utilized for income generation like a barber shop, like running the restaurants, running some kind of the medical clinic, where you can store your medicine and vaccine, which can give us another revolutionary the approach. So this entire kit is giving a lot of meaningful, not only meeting the requirement of the lighting, but also there is enough for income generation point of view, make one of the benchmark project in Africa. And we have installed in multiple countries via the local financing institution.
Amazing. And actually, I believe this kind of like method in itself accelerates as well the adoption and the scale from that perspective.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Definitely.
The third big breakthrough project I would talk about, which is at the Middle East side.
Okay.
So
Brilliant.
Middle East has abundant of sunlight.
Very true.
And that is throughout the year. But when we deep dive into it, we realize there is a lot of sandstorm is happening. The dust becoming one of the key aspect. Then the maintenance is another one.
Absolutely.
The aesthetic could be the another one, because we all the Middle East people used to see something very, very unique and very, you can say, the eye-catching kind of a product.
True.
Which you might not find in solar. And the third, which is even the bigger challenge, is this part of the world need more light output than the village on other our developing countries.
Because of the consumption as well is actually higher in here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we did, we again discussed those parts, and at Signify, we release one of the largest efficacy product, which is a light output, ultra efficient, we call it, ultra efficient solar solution, which is the panel, solar panel will be wrapped around the pole rather than putting on top of the pole. So your dust will not settle on the top of the panel because it is wrapped around the pole. So one thing you solve, the dust issue.
So the panel itself is not actually kind of like, a flat panel anymore.
It's a vertically mounted.
Yes.
And then we also, on top of it, what we did, we make this aesthetic as a decorative pole. You can put your falcon on the pole.
Wow.
You can put some kind of a decorative, the signboard, something, whatever you like it. Even it can be utilized for the billboards.
Amazing.
The third one is we make this product for a long-term performance, go up to 10 years, 8 years kind of a life, where your capex and opex become more viable with respect to the conventional. In a
How
nutshell,
do you do that? Because we know actually that usually the panels kind of like, lose the efficiency by time, right? So how are you doing that in Signify? How do you
That's
make
a
sure
great
it's
question
actually-
you ask. So that is why the ultra efficiency come in a picture. Because the light output and the solar panel and battery is depending on your luminar wattage. So the moment your power consumption can be minimized with a higher light output, you are actually optimizing the panel and battery capacity. And that is what we are the world leader. So we utilize our legacy of ultra efficiency in LED lighting and put those learning into the solar ultra efficient connected solution.
Amazing.
And the third part, what we did, we make a controls, which is AI driven controls on top of it. Sitting in your office, open the dashboard and you can see what is happening with your system, which is installed 1,000 kilometers away. You don't need to visit the site. Sitting in your office, you can see why your light is not working. If your light working is half of the capacity, what are the problem I can see, which the person has to visit the site by putting a lot of money. So all this part we have coming out from your books, it is just put on the dashboard. So with that help of dashboard, you can see more than 28 and 30 faults, whether it is short circuit, open circuit, battery disconnected, anything.
All of the metrics.
All the metrics. And you can also predict the weather. If something is going to happen with the AI, it will give you a weather forecast.
You're able to use AI to predict the weather from the solar panels.
Exactly.
Wow, how do you do it?
Yeah, so
Exactly.
we know there is a weather is getting changed. We know that information, and that information will inbuilt in the controls, which is already at site. And that control will give us a command to the light that there is a good weather is going to change. And you need to implement those change into the product with real time and give this information to the administrator who is managing those dashboard.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. We will deep dive actually in the second half of this on just kind of like the AI use cases into this. But before that, I want to take it from another angle as well. So we talked a little bit about actually the solar business in itself. We talked about you and your career. Tell us more about Signify. Why are you so successful? You're talking about Middle East. You're the world's leader in actually what you're doing all the way from India to Africa, around the globe, all of it together. And there must be some secrets, right, around actually how do you lead a business that is actually that big and across different regions with different specifics as well for each region as well, right? Africa is not the Middle East. Middle East is not Africa. India is not Middle East, and so on. So there are some specifications as well for each market from that perspective. How do you deal with that? And as a business, how do you make sure that you stand your positioning in the market for a long time like that?
Yes, superb. So I would discuss in the three key aspects. to get any business successful, you need three things. One, how close you are to customers. And when you talk about customer, it is not only one person, it's an entire ecosystem, whether it is the end user who is paying for money or the specifier who is specifying the product and the contractor who was installing. And top of it, your partnership with the system integrator who can add value on top of it, what you can do, you cannot do.
Your partners, basically. All.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So build those ecosystem in such a way so that you can help or add value to your end user who are ultimately get benefited of this part. That's the one thing. The second part is offer a differentiated product portfolio, which is meaningful for them. Each market has a different, as you rightly said, each market has a different needs and requirement, whether it is India, Africa, and the Middle East. And Signify, I'm privileged working with Signify. And I see this is a lot of exposure we have got on this market. And the Signify has given each employee to make them empowered with all the technology, whether it is technical or commercial, so that you can take the decision by your own and take the support from your seniors to make this implementation. So the differentiated product portfolio really make a lot of weightage. You are actually adding value to your customer for which they are paying for.
Absolutely.
And the third, but not the last one, is your marketing strategy. How you are positioning your product. What is your go-to-market strategy, which make awareness and education that your product has certain feature which makes you unique as compared to the competition. So these are some key secrets of Signify and what we are following from the legacy.
Amazing, amazing. So this is basically maybe on a large scale business. If you're talking to an entrepreneur or someone who wants to start a solar business today, actually, and they are a small entrepreneur, what would be your advice to them?
So my advice to follow the same. We are all entrepreneurs, by the way. That's what we made for it.
I always say that, by the way, that even actually those who work in large corporations, there is a term called intrapreneur, right? Which is actually you innovate even from within the corporate.
Exactly. So that was in our DNA, and that's why we always work just like in our own business. We take the decision, we learn to take the decision how you can make your organization more profitable, irrespective whether you are working for yourself or your organization. We always believe in integrity and transparency and the inclusion which is in our DNA. And we keep polishing those skills time by time to make sure that we are up to the market and the scale which need to make a fit for future, we call it.
Absolutely, absolutely. You actually answered my next question, which was mostly of like, Shiv, as a leader, what would be your values? And you said actually integrity and inclusion and leadership as well, and especially in terms of actually embodying, right, those values next to your team and so on. And I think everyone as a business leader, whether actually it's your own business or in corporations, you would really need a set of values that actually drives you in the business from that perspective. Let's move a little bit now in terms of actually what do we see for AI opportunities and maybe use cases within the solar, right? Our podcast is called AI Horizon, so we really kind of like deep dive first on actually what is AI doing in a certain domain or business, and then what's the future for it as well. So if you were to tell us actually more about the current AI use cases, what would that be, and then how do you see it in the future as well?
So I would first go the one step before, I think, and talk about, first of all, how solar can support to the artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
What is AI? AI is a data, and data can be stored in a data center. Data center need to be run for 24 hours into 7. And it is not a small data, it's a big data. And that data consume a lot of energy. I was reading a recent article from one of the industry leader. As per the estimation, if we are really serious about AI in future, we need to double our energy generation. And that is not possible. That is not possible to generate such a massive energy with nuclear power or oil, burning the coal or as well as the oil.
It has to be
processed for the renewable. So it means renewable is one of the key integral part of making a sustainable AI in the future. So that's what, And now, how AI can complement to solar, that could be the next one, which you said. Yes, as I mentioned before, the AI is playing a lot of role in solar and in the solar lighting per se. I would say the energy cost optimization. You can save a lot of energy basis on the need, because there are a lot of energy consumption is going on where the people don't need the light, but the energy is getting wasted.
True. Yes.
With help of AI, we can see what is the occupancy level of the road, when the people are used to walk and when there is no one on the road. How we can take this data implementation and give to the control so that we can optimize the level of energy. And second part is how we can make the weather forecasting, the prediction. If we know there is enough sunlight is available, which not only charge your storage, but also feed back to the power, to the grid. So you are generating excess energy with the same kind of infrastructure which we have made for lighting. The third one is, when we talk about the storage system, which is another key element of the solar, is your AI can help to improve the cycle charging and discharge cycle. Because when you predict your number of length of the night, you can size the battery capacity accordingly. You can change the battery health, or you monitor the battery health based on the data which has been given by AI. So in a nutshell, there are a lot of things can be happen with AI. And we talk about in the future, which is going to happen in next 3 to 5 years, the AI is a sensor fabric of the city. And it is a new currency, I would say.
Absolutely.
We all talk about this part, artificial intelligence, and playing a lot in each field. Whether you talk about medical, you talk about renewable, you talk about the data center, or in any field, AI become one of the master. And I strongly feel the renewable and AI will make a lot of transformation to the world, and it's going to happen.
I mean, the transformation of the world is definitely going to happen, as you mentioned, and we are already seeing it actually today. And I think for me personally, I believe that the intersection or the nexus of AI, solar, and lighting and infrastructure is actually what's going to empower, or actually really power as well, the future smart city that's actually enabled by AI, right?
That's correct.
That's actually a whole new world if we're talking about smart cities and how actually really the infrastructure is getting smarter, and then the lighting and then the solar as well from that perspective. Tell us a little bit more about it, Shiv. I mean, you worked on infrastructure projects before. You are really actually, I would say, in the heart of actually doing all of that, right? Tell us a little bit more about the smart city and how actually really infrastructure as well can be developed, or I would say futurized, using all of those basically like energy and AI.
Yes, so that's an interesting one. So first of all, what we do, there is a two kind of a project we can categorize. One we call is a green field, another is the gray field, which is the green field means there is nothing infrastructure exists. If you need to connect with two cities, you need one infrastructure without investing much on the electrical network. That greenfield project is the ideal for solar, because you don't need to link the cable, trenching the cable,
Correct.
the transformer, and the electrical infrastructure. Still, you can get the light. Now, the new way of
It's
light.
basically you start from zero, right? So that's actually
Exactly. So now there's a lot of such cities where Signify is working for solar urbanization. We call it solar urbanization, where without having any infrastructure available, we can put the lighting on the street.
How do you do that if there is no grid and no infrastructure?
It's a solar, it's all individual poles.
Oh, yes, okay.
And then, wirelessly, we connect the controls on top of it. And then remote monitoring, which is called the control device, is accessible on your dashboard. So eventually, everything is wireless, efficient, and maintenance free. You don't need to do anything.
And this is important, by the way, especially
very
at
important.
at the big scales, right? The
Yes.
maintenance.
Now you imagine if you done this multiple or few thousands of kilometers of road, how much of tons of carbon dioxide you can save, and that also is part of in our dashboard. You can see how much carbon dioxide you got saved over the year, over the 5 year, and that could save n number of the trees to be planted.
Of course, we're talking here actually about carbon offsetting, and we're talking about actually the carbon, I would say, emissions that we are really reducing with that. Amazing. If we are to talk maybe here actually, Shiv, about the future of solar, right? The future of solar empowered by AI. How do you see it? What is it in your vision? Like, how do you see basically the future coming up? So this is all we talked about, the use cases of today, what Signify is doing today and all. But then 5 years from here, 10 years, 15 years from here, how is it going to look like?
So look, if I talk about 10 years and 15 years from now, of course, the renewable is one of the integral part because it don't need any kind of the grid. It is independent grid. Anybody can generate from their own electricity. So I see that everyone has their own electricity grid and everyone can do the controls and use the AI to make the smart city and smart home all across. So that according to me, 10 years from now, it become a lot of transformation when the solar and controls play a lot of role in this to make a people independent for in terms of power generation and utilization.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And I think basically to get there, to get to this vision, we definitely need more than just actually the engineers like you and I getting into that, right? We need basically the government leaders, we need actually the experts, the policymakers, and actually even people to actually be aware and be really, I would say, involved in this transformation of actually towards the renewable energy and sustainabilities and so on, right? Maybe even actually different type of financing. And we hear now about the term of climate financing a lot, right? What do you think actually about this area in terms of collaboration and integrational kind of like different stakeholders in order to make that vision happening?
Yes. So each government has taken a lot of initiative. So let me start from one by one.
Absolutely.
If you talk about the Saudi has a vision 2030 and there's a renewable is playing a lot of role in this. And I see we have lot of opportunity of solar is coming on the way. And that include the AI data center is also one of the platform.
Absolutely.
If I talk about UAE, they have a 2050 plan for renewable. And it is significant amount of renewable energy need to be empowered within this vision. When we talk about India part, India has taken a lead for 10 million houses to be run for their own electricity via solar. And with then, the second element come to the picture like tax rebate. So if you are putting your own solar panel and system on your top of the home, they will get almost a significant amount of subsidy, which is good enough to get your return of investment very fast. And that is so lucrative, the people are actually meeting there are a lot of initiative to make that happen. So yes, there is a lot of government initiative has been taken. On the top of it, I still believe there is some tax rebate and the duty structure need to be validated from few countries, which are, I know they're in an advanced stage and maybe implement very, very soon. The third element which I see is the customer awareness. Because the moment we have those technology in place and customer are educated, they will ask the right questions.
True.
So that we can avoid the substandard product getting entry in the city or in the country. So when you educated enough about the technology, then you can ask the right questions and you can get the right product. And that's what we do in Signify.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Now, Shiv, if we are to actually deep dive a little bit on this last point that you just mentioned, right? The customer. The customers, I mean, historically have been saying that the solar energy, the solar power is very expensive. Why would I do it? Why would I kind of bring into that? If they are listening to us today now, what would they benefit, out of actually coming to you and asking for installing basically solar power instead of the traditional grid and the traditional energy? If you were to tell them something very practical and kind of 1, 2, 3, what do they get out of it?
First of all, I would like to know what is the requirement,
Okay.
what things add value to them, and what excite them to expend that money. If I have a need and that need is making me within my budget, I would love to take that one. Just for example, Pego is one of the model which we just explained.
Yes.
It was a win-win situation. I don't have $1,000, but I can own the $1,000 product at very the affordable price.
Fractional price.
And
yes.
that product is not only meeting my requirement, which is my personal requirement, it is also helping to generating the incomes. So I have enough money to pay the back to the product, which I'm got it from there.
How is it exactly generating income exactly? Can you
Yes,
deep dive on
suppose
this? Yeah.
if I have our own small restaurant, I can pick this refrigerator, I can charge the refrigerator. If I have our own clinic, I can put the vaccine,
Absolutely.
small fridge.
And you're supporting those small businesses actually
Exactly.
this way.
If I have a barber shop,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can charge the razor and then you can make it. So
Amazing.
even I have a mobile shop, I can charge multiple mobiles
Absolutely.
rather than using this. Or on top of it, which is even I would say the education point of view, my kids don't get light to study. If I'm getting the enough, you can say the data, internet, I can utilize that mobile for my education, for my courses, online courses.
So you're telling them basically that it's not only just actually go to solar because of maybe the environment or something, but actually a lot of the areas would actually have the solar energy as the best solution for them to get electricity, right?
I would call it the real impact of the life.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a brighter life in a better world.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Now, if we're just kind of like, as a last pillar here, talk a little bit about the globe's mandate to actually stay under 1.5 Celsius in terms of actually the global warming that we have, right? And the, I would say, all the net zero commitments as well that actually we have. How do you see solar energy playing a role into this, into the mix? Are you a believer in we should go directly all to the renewable energy sources right now and forget about the traditional ones? Or are you a believer into the energy mix? Because this is a very big debate because of the need for AI, right? So AI needs a lot of energy. So what can we do in order to actually like bring to life that energy that we needed?
Yeah, so the technology cannot shift over the night. And the adaptation, the change management is not easy. So changing the people mindset is taking time. What we need to do, we need to educate them with the right technology, with the right standard, and the way we can communicate and they can understand that. So it's a kind of say compatibility language in terms of making their life more easy, making something to add good and the positive impact on their life. Just like you said, the mix of lighting. Yes, it is required because the moment you change entire lighting one day might not give us that change acceptable.
True.
In spite, it is positive, good for change. But rather, what will happen if I give something to them which they can really see value? I think that could be the approach I would like to take.
Definitely, definitely. So you're saying basically that even that change, if actually it must happen, it has to happen gradually.
Exactly.
And there must be a change management in the process. We cannot kind of like, swap the energy mix in one day, right?
Yes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, Shiv, thank you for this amazing, I would say, discussion. I really have kind of like, a set of lightning round, I would say
Wow.
now for you.
Wow.
Which is, I ask you questions, you basically answer briefly, right? In terms of these questions, and then we go up all the way actually around that. So the first one is, what is the biggest myth around smart lighting?
It is expensive.
Okay. It's a myth, the fact
a
that
myth.
it's expensive.
Yes.
Because we have a product like pay as you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are so many such advance for outdoor, indoor, everywhere.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. AI in energy, is it overhyped, underused, or inevitable?
It is underused as of now. There's a lot
Underused.
of potential in this, and we can scale it.
Amazing, amazing. So this is a call for everyone who is in AI energy. Please tell us more about your use cases, right?
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay, another one. Diesel or data, which is the new oil?
Data is new currency.
Definitely. You have a lot of actually smart applications that's you said for predicting the weather and so on. It's depending on the data, right?
That's true.
Amazing, amazing. If you could have dinner with one sustainability visionary, whether basically current or past, who would that person be?
Sheikh Mohammed bin Al Maktoum. So I think he's an excellent person.
Of course.
And I read his book, and we have a lot of motivation on this part, how the things has changed. And I believe he's one of the ideal for most of the people in entire UAE and beyond.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. If basically you are to use, we spoke a lot actually impact on lives, right? If there is one job that actually will be impacted with solar and lighting, what would that be?
The job, I think, the AI driven.
The AI will change, or the job, the AI engineers basically job in itself? What do you mean?
No. So AI can driven and make a smarter job
Okay.
for those people who are actually adopted with the AI.
Amazing, amazing. One more thing, basically, around the city of the future. So we're speaking about AI and all. The city of the future will, if you are
Smarter, sustainable,
smarter,
more safer than before, because we have a data in hand.
amazing, amazing. And then lastly, the last thing, 3 words that describe your leadership style, Shiv.
Collaborative, result-oriented, and team player.
Brilliant, brilliant. Shiv, it was a pleasure having you in this podcast. Thank you so much for the great insights. And it has been such a great, basically, discussion with a great leader like yourself in the solar energy. If there is basically any last word you would like to share with the audience, what would that be? And then the closing is for you.
Thank you so much for first of all, it was lovely speaking to you and share about the latest technology and what we do in Signify and beyond. And I truly appreciate. Thank you so much.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much again, Shiv. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the audience of our podcast, AI Horizons with Chada. This is the closing of our episode today, where we deep dived on the solar energy. We deep dived on lighting and what Signify is actually really leading in the market nowadays, especially in the intersection of AI. We would like to basically thank Shiv, Seth, and all the entire team of the podcast, and actually what we have done today as well. And we will see you in the next episode. This was Chada Islam. Thank you.